बच्चों, कैसे हैं आप? आई होप आप सभी बहुत अच्छे से होंगे, खूब मन लगाकर पढ़ाई भी कर रहे होंगे। क्लास की शुरुआत करते हैं। चैप्टर है हमारा जुडिशरी इन इंडिया। स्नीक पीक जुडिशरी, स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ जुडिशरी, जिसमें है सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट एंड सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट। इसमें आता है क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ टेन्योर ऑफ जजेस, पावर्स एंड फंक्शंस, original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction and advisory jurisdiction, judicial review, court of records, contempt of court, PIL, that is public interest litigation, and then फिर है high court, जिसके अंदर आता है qualification, tenure of judges, power and functions, original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction and supervisory jurisdiction। फिर है यहाँ पर फिर बच्चों है नीड एंड इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑफ कोर्ट्स, इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ जुडिशरी, सुप्रीम सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट, लोक अदालत। बच्चों अब आते हैं प्रिल्यूड पर। हाइलाइट्स ऑफ द चैप्टर: द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंडियन जुडिशरी, द कंपोजिशन, पावर्स एंड फंक्शंस ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट एंड द सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट्स, सिविल लॉ एंड क्रिमिनल लॉ, द नीड एंड इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ जुडिशरी, द इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ जुडिशरी इन एनी गवर्नमेंट। द जुडिशरी इज द बॉडी कंसर्न्ड with upholding the laws. It punishes the guilty and settle disputes. In a democracy, the judiciary has a unique and significant role to play. The judiciary has been given the power and the duty to safeguard the basic rights of the citizens of India and uphold the supremacy of the Constitution. The Constitution clearly provides for the independence of judges and separation of the judiciary from the executive. बच्चों, गवर्नमेंट क्या होती है? जितने लॉज होते हैं, रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस होते हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस जो हमारा होता है, उसको चलाने के लिए, हमारे देश को चलाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट की ज़रूरत होती है। जुडिशरी क्या है? जुडिशरी हमारे लॉज को, रूल्स को, रेगुलेशंस को सेफ गार्ड करके रखती है। जो वो रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस हमारे कंट्री में लोगों को देती है, उनको सेफ गार्ड करके रखती है। द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द जुडिशरी: इंडिया इज अ यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स। द सेंटर एंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट स्टेट्स हैव अ सेपरेट लेजिस्लेचर एंड एग्जीक्यूटिव, बट देयर इज वन जुडिशियल सिस्टम फॉर द होल ऑफ इंडिया. There is no division of courts between the center and the constituent states. This means that judiciary in India is an integrated system. If a person is not satisfied with the judgment received in the lower courts, she or he can appeal to a higher court. बच्चों, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में अगर मान लीजिए कि एक कोई पर्सन जो है, उसे जजमेंट जो रिसीव हुई है लोअर कोर्ट से, उसे वो एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है, तो वो हायर कोर्ट में जाकर अपील कर सकता है। The Supreme Court is the apex court under where there are high courts. The high courts control the district court, following which there are lower courts, which are the bottom of this structure. The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of India is the highest court in India. It is in New Delhi. The Chief Justice of India, CJI, heads the Supreme Court of India. The President appoints the Chief Justice of India and other judges of Supreme Court on the recommendations of the Chief Justice. By the convention, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court is appointed as the Chief Justice. Qualification of the judges: to become a judge or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, a person should possesses the following qualification. She or he should be a citizen of India. She or he should have worked as a judge in any of the high courts for not less than 5 years, or she or he should have been an advocate of a high court for at least 10 years, or she or he should be a distinguished jurist, that is expert in law. Tenure of office: the retirement age for the judges of the Supreme Court is 65 years, but if found guilty of misuse of authority, a resolution will be passed in both the houses of parliament for the removal of the guilty judge, and an impeachment procedure will commence. The judge can also resign from their post of their own accord wherever they like. Powers and functions of the Supreme Court: the power and the functions of the Supreme Court are as follows. Original jurisdiction: it means the authority to hear certain cases of the first time. The Supreme Court of India has original jurisdiction over the following cases: cases involving the interpretation of the Constitution, disputes arising between the central government and the state government, cases dealing with infringement of fundamental rights, disputes between two or more states. Appellate jurisdiction: The Supreme Court is the highest court of the appeal in civil and criminal cases. The Supreme Court has the power to grant special leave to appeal against the judgment delivered by the High Court in the country. In other words, if a person is not satisfied with the judgment given by the High Court, he or she can appeal to the Supreme Court against that judgment. The Supreme Court will hear the case and give the final judgment. Advisory jurisdiction. The Supreme Court advises the President and the Council of Ministers on matter of constitutional issues or issues of public importance. Judicial review. One of the most important responsibilities entrusted to Supreme Court is the protection of the Constitution. The Parliament cannot pass any law that violates the Constitution. Every act or policy made by the executive should also be consistent with the Constitution. If any law passed by the legislature or any act of the executive violates any provision of the Constitution, the said law or act is declared illegal and struck down by the court. This power of the court is known as judicial review. Court of records. All the judgments of the Supreme Court are recorded and kept for future reference in similar cases. The lower courts may refer to these judgments in similar cases. Contempt of court. The Supreme Court has the power to punish anyone for contempt of any law court in India, including itself. Contempt of court refers to any behavior that opposes or defies the authority or dignity of the court. For example, on May 12, 2006, the Supreme Court directed a minister of the state of Maharashtra to be jailed for 1 month on a charge of contempt of court. Public interest litigation, that is PIL. Traditionally, the court settle the disputes whenever they are approached for that purpose. In the last few decades, the image of the court has undergone a change and they have become increasingly active. This means that the court now seek to fulfill the constitutional goals of justice and equality. The court have tried to provide legal protection to the marginalized section in society, women, tribal, workers, farmers and children. Public interest litigations have played an important role in this regard. Public interest litigation is a complaint directly filed by an individual or a group of individuals in a court of law if their interests are undermined by the government. In such cases, the concerned court of law can initiate and enforce action to serve and secure significant public interest. Research junction. You may have seen the statue of Lady of Justice. Why do you think it is blind or folded? बच्चों, आपने स्टैचू ऑफ लेडी ऑफ जस्टिस देखा होगा. आपको क्यों लगता है कि उनकी आंखों पर पट्टी क्यों बांधी गई है? इसके बारे में पढ़िए, जानिए और इसकी प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिए. नॉलेज जंक्शन. द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया वाज इनॉग्रेटेड ऑन 28 जनवरी 1950. 28 जनवरी को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया को इनॉग्रेट किया गया था. Crash Penguin. 2 lawyers had filed PIL, public interest litigation, requesting the Supreme Court to issue directions to center and state government to include yoga in school curriculum. The PIL asked for framing of a national yoga policy and making it compulsory for students of class 1 to 8 across the country, but the court dismissed the PIL, saying it had no authority to dictate what had to be taught in school. High Court. The Indian institution confirms the Parliament with the power to establish a High Court in each constituent state in the Union. There is a Chief Justice along with other judges in the High Court. The Chief Justice of the High Court is appointed by the President on the recommendation of and in consultation with the Chief Justice of India and Governor of the concerned state. The other judges of the High Court are appointed by the President in consultation with the Chief Justice of the concerned High Court and the Governor of that state. Qualification of the High Court judges. The following qualifications are required to be a High Court judge. कौन-कौन से qualification होनी चाहिए हाई कोर्ट का जज बनने के लिए? He or she should be a citizen of India. He or she should have worked as a High Court advocate or as a judge in any court in India for not less than 10 years. Tenure of office. A High Court judge retires at the age of 62. The judges can also resign from their post of their own accord whenever they like. He or she may also face impeachment on charges of misconduct. Powers and functions of the High Court. Original jurisdiction. Cases related to violation of fundamental rights, divorce, wills and laws related to marriage can be brought directly to the High Court. Appellate jurisdiction. All the decisions made by the subordinate courts in all types of civil as well as criminal matters can be brought to the High Court by an appeal. Supervisory jurisdiction. Its supervisory jurisdiction involves supervising the activities of the lower courts. Subordinate courts. The courts at and below the district level are known as the subordinate Ordinate courts. There are different courts of civil and criminal cases in each district. The highest court dealing with civil cases in a district is the court of the district judge. Subordinate courts under it are the court of the civil judge and the court of the himself. Munsif. The highest court dealing with criminal cases in a district is the court of the session judge. The subordinate courts under it are the court of the chief judicial magistrate, the first class judicial magistrates and the second class judicial magistrates. Appeals against the decision of the lower courts are heard by the district courts. Lok Adalats. Lok Adalats means people court. The first Lok Adalat was held in Delhi in 1985 to save both the time and money. A system of Lok Adalat has been set up recently. Under this system, large numbers of cases are decided in a single day. Lok Adalats have proved useful to the poor as they find it extremely difficult to pay the high legal costs involved in fighting a case. Lok Adalats settle disputes through conciliation and compromises. In fact, one of the main conditions of the Lok Adalat is that both parties in dispute should agree for a settlement. A Lok Adalat is presided over by a sitting or retired judicial officer as a chairperson with the two other members, usually a lawyer and a social worker. There is no court fee. The common people can get their dispute settled fast and free of cost. The police investigate the matter and then a petition is filed in the court. If the charges are proved, there are provisions for severe punishment. Research junction, it is said that justice delayed is justice denied. Do you agree? Express your views. बच्चों ऐसा कहा जाता है कि अगर जस्टिस डिलेड है इसका मतलब है कि जस्टिस डिनाई हो चुकी है. क्या आप अग्री करते हैं इस बात पर? बच्चों इसकी प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा अपने व्यूज़ को एक्सप्रेस करके. नॉलेज जंक्शंस. The International Council of Justice is often called the World Court. It was established by the United Nations in 1945 to resolve international disputes. It has its headquarters at Hague. It settles legal disputes between countries and takes decisions on legal matters submitted to it by the General Assembly. The court has played an important role in the resolution of conflicts between countries. Grasp and gain. With the growing use of internet facilities and technology, efforts should be made to make judicial processes paper-free. Need and importance of courts. Along with the legislature and the executive, the judiciary too is an important organ of the government. While the legislature makes the laws and executive implements the laws, judiciary imparts justice. Opinions, thoughts, perspectives, beliefs, faith and culture different from person to person. If people are tolerant, they can avoid conflicts. But if differences of opinion are very sharp, they may lead to conflicts. They should be resolved impartially and in accordance with the laws. For this purpose, unbiased judiciary machinery is required. Conflict of interest may arise between individuals and the government. A decision or law made by the government may seem unfair to people and they may approach the court of justice. The government tries to implement the objectives of social injustice, justice and equality laid down in the Constitution. The judiciary, through its decisions and certain cases or through active involvement, can support government. The court can help to bring the weaker section of society, women, children, differently abled and transgender into a mainstream of the society. When a common man benefits from the values of freedom, equality and justice, it leads to the wending of the deepening of democracy. This is necessary for the strengthening of democracy. The rule of law is protected by the judiciary. The law treats everyone equally. Rich, poor, forward, backward, men or women, all are equal before law and this is expressed clearly through judicial डिसीजंस. बच्चों रूल ऑफ लॉ जो है वो प्रोटेक्ट किया जाता है जुडिशरी द्वारा. लॉ सबको इक्वली ट्रीट करता है, फिर चाहे वो मैन हो, विमेन हो, अमीर हो, गरीब हो, बैकवर्ड हो, फॉरवर्ड हो, चाहे कोई भी हो, लॉ के लिए सबसे पहले इक्वालिटी ही कायम रहती है, इक्वालिटी ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है. Judiciary helps to protect the rights of people. Conflicts are resolved to accordance with the law and law prevents emergence of repressive and authoritarian groups and individuals. Independence of judiciary. The judiciary should not work under any kind of pressure. Judiciary कभी भी किसी तरीके के प्रेशर के अंडर काम नहीं करनी चाहिए. The independence of the judiciary is maintained so as to enable the judges to fearlessly carry out the function of giving justice. For this purpose, the Constitution has made many provisions. The Constitution laid down the eligibility criteria for the judges. A legal expert or one having served as a high court judges or the experienced advocate is considered eligible. Judges are appointed by the president. This helps to avoid any political pressure. Judges enjoy security of tenure. They cannot be removed from the post for tribal reasons or for political motives. The salaries of judges are drawn from the Consolidated Fund of India. Their salaries cannot be reduced during this tenure of service. Personal criticism cannot be made on judges for their acts and decisions. Contempt of court is considered as a punishable offence. This is not only protects the judges from misguided or wrongful criticism but also preserves the independence of the judiciary. The parliament cannot discuss the decisions of the judges. However, it has a right to remove the judges from their position through the impeachment procedure. बच्चों अब आ जाते हैं टर्म्स टू लर्न पर. जुडिशरी, बॉडी enforcing and interpreting laws. Supreme Court, India's highest judicial authority. High Court, state level superior judicial body. Original jurisdiction, first to hear certain cases. Appellate jurisdiction, hears appeal from lower courts. Judicial review, checks legality of laws and acts. Public interest legislation, PIL, legal action for public welfare. Lok Adalat, inform court resolving disputes cheaply. Impeachment process to remove judges for misconduct. Contempt of court, disrespect towards court authority. Constitution, supreme law governing India. Independence of judiciary, free from external pressures. अब आते हैं let's recapitulate पर. The judiciary in India is an integrated system spanning from the Supreme Court down to local courts. The Supreme Court, located in New Delhi, is the highest court heading by the Chief Justice of India. High courts serve at the state level with the Chief Justice appointed by the President. Lower courts and district courts address local and regional legal issues under High Court guidance. Supreme Court judges may have extensive legal experience or be distinguished jurists. The retirement age for Supreme Court judges is set at 65 years. Supreme Court's original jurisdiction includes constitutional interpretations and interstate disputes. Its appellate jurisdiction allows it to hear appeals against High Court decisions. Advisory jurisdiction enables the Supreme Court to counsel the President on legal matters. Judicial review by the Supreme Court ensures that laws comply with Constitution. Public interest litigation allows courts to address issues affecting marginalized communities. Independence of the judiciary is crucial for unbiased legal proceedings and safeguarding democracy. बच्चों अब आ जाते हैं असेसमेंट जंक्शन पर. टिक द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. What is the primary role of the High Court in a state? Option A, Option B, Option C, Option D. आगे की प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा. State whether the given sentences are true or false. Judiciary has been given the power and the duty to safeguard the basic rights of the citizens of India. True. False. आगे की प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा. Fill in the blanks. Dash heads the Supreme Court of India. Chief Justice heads the Supreme Court of India. बच्चों आगे की प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा. डिफ्रेंशिएट बिटवीन द फॉलोइंग, आपको इनके बीच में डिफ्रेंशिएट करना है, इसकी प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा. आंसर द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चंस इन 20 to 30 वर्ड्स. बच्चों यहाँ जो क्वेश्चंस दिए गए हैं उनके आंसर्स को आपको 20 to 30 वर्ड्स में देने हैं. आंसर द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चंस इन 50 to 60 वर्ड्स. बच्चों यहाँ जो क्वेश्चंस दिए गए हैं उनके आंसर्स को आपको 50 to 60 वर्ड्स में देने हैं, इसकी प्रैक्टिस खुद से कीजिएगा. आंसर द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चंस इन डिटेल, यहाँ जो क्वेश्चंस दिए गए हैं चैप्टर की मदद से उन्हें डिटेलिंग में दीजिएगा. अब आते हैं पॉइंट टू पॉन्डर पर. बच्चों इसे ध्यानपूर्वक पढ़िए, इसे समझिए और उसके बाद में इसकी प्रैक्टिस आप खुद से कीजिएगा. बच्चों आई होप आज की क्लास में आपने जो भी पढ़ा आपको अच्छे से समझ में आ गया होगा. अब आप इसकी प्रैक्टिस खुद से करते रहिएगा.